Welcome to Network Spotlight. I am your host, Mikhail. Today, I've got a great interview with Andriy, the co-founder of Allbridge, which is a cross-chain bridge looking to connect all of the blockchains. It's an ambitious task, but so far they are connected to 16 different networks and counting. Andriy is also part of unchain.fund, which is a charity that is donating to the people of Ukraine. We discuss crypto's impact on the Russia-Ukraine war, life for developers living in Ukraine, different bridge hacks, and so much more. Enjoy this conversation with Andriy.
Okay, that is super cool. Sorry for being late.
Oh, not a problem at all. I know you're a busy guy, so I appreciate you taking the time.
It is okay. I planned this meeting. It is just because when I've been driving to get here, my car said me that there is some problem with the tire. So I had to go to the petrol station to check what is happening. So that took like 15 minutes that I wanted to allocate by arriving, not like minutes, a minute.
Well, I hope everything's okay with your car.
It is fine. It is fine. I will manage it later. It is just the change of temperature. Sometimes it affects the pressure in tires.
It's that time of the year for sure. What part of the world are you in right now? Because I know you do a lot of traveling.
So right now I came to visit my family in Portugal. I'm like 40 minutes drive from Lisbon in Cascais, and that was sort of unexpected turn of event. But I decided tomorrow early in the morning, I think I will wake up like at 6 a.m. I will fly to Colombia to Bogota.
Are you going to the
Dev,
is it the Web3 Summit?
DevCon.
DevCon, that's right. Yeah, I always get the
And
conferences confused.
yeah, but the thing is that I sort of planned to go there, been thinking about it, but I wanted to do it like on Sunday or Monday. And then it turned out that there is a problem with airline tickets for some reason. So after searching multiple options, I figured out that I need to leave like tomorrow morning.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of issues with airlines these days, with everything going on around the world. But you mentioned Cascais. I actually, when I was in Portugal the first time, I went to Cascais. It's beautiful over there. It's along the coast, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it is along the coast. I am living like not near the coast, but like 10 minutes driving to it. And I think it is pretty cool here. I mean, I really like the area. There are a lot of cool crypto guys. Everything is very relaxed. I like it here.
So did you move to Portugal because of the tax incentives and just the overall how crypto friendly the country is, or how did you end up there?
Oh, well, the primary reason for me to move to Portugal was war in Ukraine. So, I mean, I would prefer to stay back in Kiev, where we used to live with my family, and we had office there. Most of our developers like are still there, and we tried to work under the same roof. So we now sort of became more decentralized, but that wasn't intentional. And why I chose Portugal of all other places in the world, I'm just not sure. I've heard it is crypto friendly. I mean, it probably not that crypto friendly as they say, but it is quite crypto friendly. Then I like the crypto community here. It is easy to fly to the States, especially to New York, right? It is like 6 hours flight or something. People are friendly, sun and shine is shining. I've been to Portugal in November during Solana Breakpoint event, and I thought, maybe it is a cool place to spend some time there. So basically, after the war started, I had to drive somewhere, and Portugal seemed to be like just as cool place as any.
Yeah, it is. The weather is truly amazing there, and the food is really good. Seafood's good. People are very nice. It's definitely a good choice. You mentioned that you still have some team members in Kiev. I mean, what's it like for them right now to be going through everything that's been going on in terms of the war, but at the same time focusing on the task at hand, which you're doing a lot of development with your project Allbridge, which we'll get to. But how has that whole experience been trying to work with your teammates?
The first months after the war started, it has been like a mess. People were spread all around the country. No one knows what is happening, when the next attack will happen. You cannot feel safe, no matter where you are. I would say that from from end of February until roughly the end of March, most of the development has stopped due to the normal reasons. People tried to relocate to safer places. Some people were even sitting in the bomb shelter, so that is not definitely helping to code, right? If you know what I mean. But by the end of March, things started to get back to normal. We started re-enabling our weekly and daily calls. We started thinking about what we're going to do next. And a lot of people sort of found peace in doing their regular work. Because, all over the news, it says it is war, enemies are attacking, life is bad, everything is bad, everyone is upset, everyone is nervous. So you try to stick to that one thing you know how to do, right? And it makes your life seem like it is like back to normal. Some people even, and I'm proud of them, they were writing code actually sitting in the bomb shelter. Like, I think it is sort of amazing. Now we're sitting in October, and I would say that life in Kiev, it is 90% back to normal. So restaurants are working, shops are working, sports clubs are working. You do have air sirens from time to time, but thanks God, nothing is really hitting the city. So the fuel problem has been solved, because just a couple of months ago, people in Kiev mostly were using electric transport because you couldn't buy petrol. So the sales of e-scooters, they like boomed. That was the most convenient way and cheapest one to get around the town. Now it is all like, like we got used to, like you already see people standing in traffic jams. I think traffic jams are a sign that things are slowly coming back to what they used to be. Of course, you still cannot travel. You cannot go in and out of the country. You have no air flights at all. So it is not like completely normal, but it's sort of normal. And I mean Kyiv, the capital. Of course, in other parts of the country, it may be different.
Yeah, I remember a few months back, I was talking to somebody from Ukraine. It was a developer. He was working on an NFT project, and he was inquiring about having a smart contract audit. And as I was talking to him, he said, can you hold on for a moment? And every once in a while, he would tell me to hold on. I said, no problem. And I kept hearing some noise in the background, and I was like, is everything okay? And he's like, oh, it's just the bombs going off in the background. You were saying, and I'm like, do you want to maybe pause the conversation, come back to it? He's like, no, this is actually helping me. So it's interesting that you bring up how the people were coding in the bomb shelter. I think that, and I don't know if it's the people of Ukraine, but I know that there's a lot of developers in Ukraine, and the developers are very passionate about the work that they do. And to your point, it appears as though that type of passion helps them kind of bring some sanity into their life and gets them distracts them away from the reality of this situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would 100% agree that working helps, and it even happened to myself. So, for example, the first few days of the war, I've been sitting in my flat in Kiev, like constantly reading the news, not being able to focus on anything else. And you just watch all those bad news like pile up, attack here, attack there, bombs here, people down there. You cannot do anything. You just keep on thinking. And at some point, I thought, okay, well, maybe it is time for me to concentrate on something else. And we were working with my friends on a charity fund, helping people. And where you are doing actual stuff and you are not reading all the bad news, it helps to clean up your head and helps you to feel that you're doing something useful, rather than sitting down and just getting sadder and sadder with every next news.
Let's transition this into crypto. How has the war? How has crypto had an impact on the war between Russia and Ukraine?
So first thing, I would like to really deep dive into this part about the charity fund, because it was an interesting concept. So the name is unchain.fund. It is public. All the audits, the reports are there, and it was one of the first ones to emerge. And it differed from all other crypto funds that helped people because it was decentralized. So the idea was to get like people well known in crypto space, founders of crypto projects together and get them as multi-sig cosigners. So that provided additional trust level over the usual stuff, because at some point people were just saying, hey, here is the address, send crypto here. And you cannot really verify what's happening next, right? It is your crypto, you send it, it's gone. What is happening if the person is a good person, probably it's gone for good use. And we decided to do things differently. We decided to do them in this decentralized manner, set it up, the multi-sig, showed that we are public, that we are open. A lot of good people helped us, like Ilya, founder of Near, has been there. Dmitry Budurin, founder of Haken, I'm sure you know the company, so that may be relevant. And a lot of other cool guys joined it. And the whole idea that we were public and known in crypto helped to show people that we are not really just raising money. We are doing something good. And then we started publishing photo and video reports, people actually getting help, and it mattered. I cannot say we helped everyone. Of course, we had an enormous amount of people asking for help, but I'm proud to say that we helped someone. I mean, it is like helps you to sleep at night, right?
Yeah, I can imagine that, you just helping out at least one person has an impact on your life.
We helped thousands. And I think that was something, good. And actually crypto helped thousands because the banking system was not really able to provide this kind of, transition layer for everyone who wanted to help Ukraine and people in need. And crypto, while people commonly associate with crypto with some shady things, it actually shined here in this charity part. It really helped to easily connect those who want to help and those who are in need. I think it is a great use case.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that when people think about charity and crypto, usually there's like a very strong connotation with, okay, this is a scam. So, I mean, I would imagine for you, you had a few challenges to overcome. And like you mentioned, the multi-signature, that helped. Were there any other things that you had to do in order to help build that confidence and, trust?
Yeah, I would say that we really tried to present the next steps, the next cohort of people we're trying to help. We discussed that on the meetings. We tried to pick up the best way that we can get involved, usually focusing on medicines and clothing. That is really needed right now. And then we always were asking people to share not only the invoices of what has actually been bought, but also sort of personal photo or video. I did it myself with those friends that I knew from all over the world. Like some of them helped me to buy transportation buses that we converted in sort of medical, well, not real ambulances, but sort of ambulances. And I really tried to make this personal. So I came out and say, here, take a look. This ambulance, it is being bought for the money that you donated. And here, guys, look on Twitter. Here's the actual person helping, and here's what we are doing. And I think that helped to build this level of confidence in what we were trying to achieve. And ultimately, it helped to help more people by attracting more donations there.
So what about on the receiving end? Like what actually happens there? Meaning, you're sending crypto to specific charities and then they convert it to local currency, or how does that process work?
Now we've got a few options. If we're buying any goods ourselves, then we can do several things. First, we can convert crypto to local currency. We can do it either on exchange or through some providers. Ultimately, we get Ukrainian hryvnias, which we send to cover up the invoices that we receive for the goods, for the medical supplies, etc. Now, in some cases, when we were requesting some help from abroad, people were actually willing to accept crypto from us. Last but not least, in Ukraine, it is pretty easy to convert crypto to physical cash. So this is what we sometimes did. So we converted crypto to physical cash and then use this cash to pay people.
Yeah, I was always curious to know how, how that whole process played out. So is your method of donation, is that still active?
Now, most people are not really donating for the last couple of months. I would say that is probably due to the fact that people got tired of the war, and those people who had the funds, they were able to donate. Probably they already did that. Yes, of course, everything is up and live, like all the websites, all the reports, all the audits, all the wallets that you can transfer to your funds to, they are up and running. That has been said, and while I would be extremely grateful if any of those who are watching this video would like to continue helping Ukraine, I have to say that unfortunately the majority of people are they already helped, and I don't see any new ones. But feel free to check what we are doing, what we have done so far at unchain.fund. Take a look there. If you like what we are doing, please let me know if I can share with you any more information. If you're particularly interested of what you can do to help, I can tell you how we use the funds, how we do the audits, etc., etc.
And you said it's unchain.fund.
Unchain,
right?
like unchain, UNCHAIN.
Unchain.fund.
Unchain.
Okay. And I'll include the link in the description. So that'll be good.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thanks for sharing that. I know sometimes it's not really easy or to talk about, and I appreciate you sharing the impact of crypto is having in that particular situation. Changing the topic a little bit, you obviously one of your biggest projects is Allbridge. Can you share a little bit about what exactly you're doing it? Why does it exist? Why do we need Allbridge?
Sure, absolutely. So we ultimately want to connect all the chains together in a decentralized manner, hence the name Allbridge. It symbolizes our vision that all the chains, they have to be connected, and there's got to be a way to transfer assets from one chain to another. What bridges are doing, they are helping you to move the assets from one chain to another. And this is the core idea we had in mind when we started the project. We were looking around at crypto space, what is happening there. We've noticed that the majority of people, whenever they need to jump from chain A to chain B, like 90% of the time, they would use centralized exchange. And those people who are actually using the bridges, usually those bridges are tied to a specific chain. So for example, Binance has their own bridge, and mostly the majority of traffic, it is coming to and from Ethereum. Now, let's say you want to connect Binance to Near protocol. What do you do in this case? There is no simple answer, because Near protocol has Rainbow bridge of its own, which connects Ethereum to Near, but it's not connecting Binance chain to Near. And it gets even more complicated when you try to think about all of those non-EVM chains that are out there, because finding the bridge from one EVM chain to the other one, it is relatively easy for the reason that it is pretty much the same Solidity contract that you redeploy. Now, when you want to connect something not so, straightforward, like if you want to connect Polygon to Solana, we were actually the first guys that connected Polygon to Solana, and we've seen billions in liquidity moving here and there. So I think that was pretty cool integration. And we continued going this way, focusing on connecting those chains that are not really connected at the moment. So yes, I mentioned native Near. I probably should mention we connected Terra to a variety of chains. It is set store with Terra. The community has been super active. They were really like cross-chain proper crypto guys, jumping from chain to chain, looking for opportunities. And then it all went down to ashes together with Luna. But it is what it is. We connected XRP Ledger. We're working on a variety of other integrations. So yeah, I think we're pretty big in the bridging space. We started on mainnet in July 2021. By that time, supporting 4 chains. Now we support 16 chains, with another couple of them coming up soon. And we have processed more than 6 billion in liquidity through all the chains we support. And we also are now launching, already did in beta mode, but still our next product, where we are focusing on cross-chain stable swaps. Because bridging in its nature, it is something that in most cases helps you to create a wrapped asset on the destination chain, and users are usually confused without the whole concept of what wrapped asset is, how do you get the proper liquidity, how do you trade it. So for our new bridge, we focused on stable coins, and we made sure that the users are always getting the native stable coins whenever they use the bridge services. That is like brief intro. We can go more into details that you are specifically interested in.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to understand from a risk standpoint. You mentioned one EVM chain bridge to another EVM chain. That's easy. Do you feel like that is also safer rather than having a non-EVM to an EVM chain?
Well,
In terms of
yeah, it probably is in terms of security. If you think about all the code you need to review, then of course, reviewing the single solidity contract, it gets you less chances for making the mistake, for not seeing any sort of vulnerability, even though they still are there. Now, it happened just like tonight when the Binance bridge has been unfortunately hacked. And I think 1 or 2 million BNB were withdrawn, like created out of thin air.
2, yeah.
2 million, that's a lot of money, right? 2 million BNB. And I do think that Binance bridge, it has been actually properly audited by a lot of companies, and still there has been a room for this vulnerability. Now, whenever you think about one contract here on Solidity and the other contract here on Rust, and all of those moving parts in between, then the chances to make the mistake, they are rising significantly, right? So yes, I would agree that it is safer there are no guarantees, right? As in this Binance bridge hack, we see that even those guys can be hacked. So you can never be sure that you're 100% safe. But of course, the risks, they differ. Still, I think that bridging non-EVM chains, it is important, because we cannot just sit in Ethereum-like world and pretend that nothing is happening out there.
So what do you have to do on your end from a developer standpoint to make sure that you have the capability to understand all these different languages, whether it be Solidity, Rust, like when you're connecting these networks?
We have different development teams. So some developers, they specialize in Solidity, others specialize in Rust. We are trying to be extremely careful with what we are doing, always reviewing code, reaching out for external audits. We're trying to cover everything we write with as many tests as possible to make sure that we will catch up things. If things go wrong, we will be aware of that at some point. And we are thinking about doing some bug bounties. I think bug bounty platforms, it has been quite efficient way to incentivize other people to look in what you're doing. But to be honest, still, no matter what we do, we sometimes wake up in the middle of the night being frightened, like by the fact that we may be hacked at some point. And it is extremely hard to prevent that, because breaches, they will always be an interesting target for the attackers, because they possess like real money. There is no point, I think, in attacking data analytics companies such as Nansen. They're super cool guys, super famous. You hack into their system and you get what exactly? With breaches, it is slightly different. It is pretty much the same way as it used to be when in 2016-17, a lot of centralized exchanges got hacked, because hackers saw that this is this moment where they can get the money and run with it. And with bridges, it gets much more complicated because of the decentralized nature of the bridges themselves.
Yeah, bridges continue to be the number one target from a exploit standpoint. And nobody has really figured out a way to secure these. What do you think? And you're not, this, I'll preface by saying you're not a, security engineer, but in your humble opinion, what do you think needs to happen in order for auditing firms to be able to fully secure these bridges that are continuously getting hacked?
I think that the more hacks happen, while it is sad to see them happen and see projects losing money and real people losing money, the more experience would companies specializing in cybersecurity have on their side, because they will see ultimately the majority of the attack vectors, right? And with each and every hack, there are more things to consider whenever the contract audit is being done, because there are like examples out there. You can see what happened to wormhole and think if you can prevent such things from happening. You can see what happened to Binance breach and prevent such things from happening, and so on and so forth. So I think it was pretty much the same journey with the exchanges. So over time, people learn where to look for the potential vulnerabilities. Those vulnerabilities are being closed. And even if we get a creative hacker inventing something really new, it is not that common. It would not like happen right now. We see bridges hacked almost like every week, right? And over time, it would get better, but it's gonna be a hard-earned experience, and projects and people would pay for that ultimately, which is sad in my opinion.
Yeah. So what is next for Allbridge? You're continuing to connect all the chains, and you obviously believe in interoperability. Where are there any specific items along the roadmap that you're focused on right now?
I really want to roll out SDK for the cross-chain swaps, hopefully next week, because for me, it is now not only about B2C, but integrating with other protocols to help them to transfer value between the chains. Then the other important thing for me right now, it is finalizing the Solana for the cross-chain swaps part. So right now, when we're recording this interview, it is 7th of October. So in less than a month, Solana breakpoint is going to happen. I will be there presenting my bridge, showing people how it used, and it is extremely important for me to have Solana swaps available to showcase how you can take USDC on Solana, convert it to USDT on Ether or USDT on Tron or BUSD on Binance Smart Chain. I think it is now BNB chain. I still call it the old-fashioned way.
Same. It's going to take some time to get used to it for sure. But you mentioned Solana. That this kind of brings my next point. Solana's been down 8 times this year, and it seems to be getting that reputation, unfortunately. However, on the plus side, when you look at the NFT market, they are very much in competition with Ethereum. I mean, they keep up with Ethereum when it comes to the NFT space. They're growing rapidly. But what do you see the future looking like for Solana? I'm hearing stories of projects leaving Solana to go to Aptos, because I guess that's where the money is. What, in your humble opinion, where do you think the future lies for Solana?
Okay, so just so we are on the same page, by being a bridge, I see a lot of chains and a lot of core teams. That gives me sort of this unique perspective, because I see what is happening and I talk to all the chains all the time, just because the nature of my business is there. And for me, Solana, it is extremely interesting for the reason that they have community and they have loyal community. So whenever new prominent chain appears in the space, people are starting to run in that direction because they feel that the money is there. And yes, I do acknowledge that some of them are leaving Solana and going to Aptos in search of the brighter future, in search of, I don't know, investment rounds or whatsoever. But still, a lot of people remain on Solana and they keep building on Solana. And I don't really see today Aptos as being a competitor to Solana. I will maybe change my opinion over time when it launches, if we see the traction, if we see the community building up there. For now, Aptos for me sounds more like a promise of what is going to happen, not the actual thing happening, if you follow what I say. And I like about Solana that they really gathered those people who believe in the chain and who always are active on chain. I've seen a lot of, I probably shouldn't, do any namings. It wouldn't be incorrect from my perspective, but I've seen dead chains. And I've seen people abandoning chains like completely. And you go on chain, you go onto Block Explorer, and nothing is happening there. And that is definitely not the case for Solana. Yes, they are seeing technical difficulties. They are overcoming them. They are having problems on the journey. And I'm well aware of people saying that like Solana works from 9 to 5 on weekdays, something like that. And I think that it is really sad for the core team to hear, but I do believe that they will use this negative energy to make things better. So ultimately, I believe that things will get better for Solana from the technical perspective. Network would be much more smoother, much more stable, hopefully near future or not so near future. That remains to be seen. If I would personally choose between moving my assets to Aptos over Solana, I would probably not do that, not right now. Still, I retain the right to change my opinion later on. But for now, Aptos for me seems like sort of overhyped thing that may be good, maybe not. I don't know just yet. And Solana has already proven that it has the community, and community seems to be the most important asset in the crypto world. Hope that answered the question.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing that no network is perfect, right? Ethereum has its issues. Binance, clearly we see that it has its issues and concerns. And so I think we're all learning, we're all trying to develop to be better, and it remains to be seen what will unfold. You look 4-5 years back, some of the projects that were really big are not around anymore, and it's scary to think about that, but we don't know what will happen. So only time will tell. Andriy, where can people learn a little bit more about you, about some of the things that you're working on? Where can people connect?
Well, I'm trying to be as active as possible on Twitter. So that would probably be the easiest way to track what is happening in my life. I mean, my personal Twitter, not the company. I try to put some notes on where I am, what we are doing. And then if people just want to read like, who am I, what is my background, I'm public on LinkedIn. It's all there, like education, work experience. I think, well, if there is any question that is really personal, business related, you can always find me on Telegram. Again, please beware of all those clones on Telegram of myself. People are trying to create fake profiles and use them to even contacting my team members, asking them for money, saying that it's me. It happens in crypto, unfortunately.
It does. It does. I'll include the links in the description. And Andriy, you've always been so open and friendly whenever I, get a chance to connect with you in the conferences. And so, for anybody watching, if you happen to see Andriy out and about at a conference or doing a speaking engagement, feel free to come up to him. He's extremely friendly. So, Andriy, thanks so much for your time. It was a real pleasure.
Thank you so much for inviting. The pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Take care. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.